Before we get started in launching Logic, I want to go over one thing here first of all. We want to go to our App Store. So here's the app icon there. It's in my dock. And in our App Store, we've already loaded up Logic, right? Now, when you need updates, they're going to be here. And they'll appear here, providing your computer's on, you're online. You need to always have the latest update of Logic to keep you really up to date. That's important. Now to launch Logic, I go to my dock again. I'm looking for Logic. I've got a lot of softwares here. Here we go, Logic Pro X. I can launch it from here. I can also launch it from my Applications folder. I'll press Shift-Command-A. And here we go, Applications folder. And we'll scroll down here and we're going to see Logic Pro X right there, right? I can also launch it from a project file. Here's a project file right here for Logic. And to get info, I can go right here, go to Get Info, and I can see Info, Logic Pro X, the kind of file it is, right? So we know what we're doing with it right now. And I can launch it that way as well. So I'm going to go to my dock, though, and launch Logic Pro X. Now once you do, you see it's going to load up here, and we're loading, and it loads a project in. Wow, look at that. That project was already up already, right? So I can close this project out. Let's see, don't save this project, and Logic is still open. Now let's say I want to start a new project, so I'll select New, and now we get this option here, where we can start a whole new project. Now since this is a new project, I don't need to really use it, I want to go over templates really, so I want to cancel this out. And you notice once I do, Logic then will bring the templates to the front. And this is our dialog box for our starting up Logic with templates or recent files or even our own templates. So here we have new project. You can see here we have 5 different templates. We have our hip hop, we've got our electronic, songwriter, multi-track, and we have an empty project, totally empty, nothing in it at all. Our recent projects will appear here. And then we have our own templates. So right here, for example, I can go back in, I can launch a project or start one. I can do hip-hop or electronic. Let's start with this hip-hop project again right here. And once I do, you'll notice it loads up automatically with tracks. It's got this drum machine set up already, see here? So I click on something here in a track. You'll notice here, this is a classic ARP. I go to here, we've got this vintage synth bass. We got elastic lead. We got electric buzz, and we got a string ensemble. See that? So it loads up automatically with some elements for each different track here. And you'll see it here in the library what the element is. So I go back here to Boutique 808, and we get this icon image here, which looks more like an Akai MPC60, really. Now after loading up this template, you'll notice it says here, Untitled Tracks. So I can save this, and we're going to go here to File, and we're going to go to Save. Now once we do, you see we got this dialog box here where I have several options that I can use to save my project. I can name my project, I can call it Docs Beat here, and then I can get a location where I want to save it. I can save it in a Logic folder, but I think I'm going to save it directly to my desktop for now. And we can organize it as my project in a package, or we can organize it into a folder. So if I have a folder sometimes, I might be doing adding a movie clip to it or something, or maybe adding some other audio files, and so I may want to use a folder. But in this case, we'll keep it just down to a package. Now you see I can copy the following files into the project: audio files, the EXS instruments and samples, Ultra Beat samples, Space Designer impulse response, the movie file, also include the Apple Sound Library content. Now sometimes I'm not going to use that because I'm going to keep it on my same computer, but if you're going to take the project to someone else's place, business, or work in the studio, you may want to actually keep that in the same folder, make a whole folder. In this case, I'll just make a quick package here, and we'll press Save. And see the name's changed, and it's on my desktop. Now, once you save the file, let's go back here. I'm going to hide Logic. You'll see your file right here in the desktop, if you save it to your desktop. And I'm going to right-click here, and you'll see the contents show package contents. And this is the contents of that file. And you'll see here we have folders. We've got alternatives, we have content, we have media, as you can see here. And we have resources. So everything is all in one file right here. Now that was from a template. So next I want to do something new. A brand new overall, like an empty track or something, right? So I can go to here, we're going to close this out. And we're going to close this out, of course. Once I do, it says, well, do you want to save it? I'll press yes, and we save it. Now, once I've closed that project, I want to open up a new project, let's say. And let's go right here. We're going to go to New. I can select New, and I'll get a new project. I can also go to New from Template, go here. Instead of selecting my other templates, I can select an empty project. I choose this. It opens up. And you'll notice the first thing that happens, I get a project, but I must put a track in, right? As you can see here, Untitled Tracks. So before you can actually play any project in Logic, it must have a track. So I have a selection here. I can have a software instrument, external MIDI, audio, a guitar, a bass track, or even a drum track. Now, here in details, if it's not open it here like that. This arrow points down now. And you'll notice here, I have Open Library selected. It's important to have it opened. That way, when I do select my software instrument, I can pick other instruments. And I have the number of tracks right here, 1, and I'll select Create. Once I do, you notice here, I have a musical typing for my keyboard. As you can see, so I can use my keyboard on my computer to play. I can go to here and just play a chord right on my keyboard. Let's close this out. And you'll notice here in the library, I now have this classic electric piano. And you notice here in the track also, on my channel strip name, we have classic electric piano. So this is my library here. And in my library, I can select different software instruments. I can select a bass, a drum kit, a guitar. We've got mallets here, orchestra, piano, synths. We have world sounds. So I have a lot of the sounds that come with our Logic setup here, which is really cool. And I can play these software instruments with my keyboard or a MIDI connected device. Now this software instrument track is a MIDI track. And I can go here to my tools. I'll select pencil. And I'm going to click right here. And by default, we get this green looking little region here. And this is a MIDI region. And this MIDI region will contain data for my keyboard, like how hard I hit the keyboard, which notes I played, how long I held them down for. That information is MIDI data, which is stored right here. And this would be a MIDI region right here that I would use to play back the sounds from that classic electric piano. Let's make a new track. I'm going to press Option Command End, and now we have that same dialog box here. I can figure what I want to use. Let's use external MIDI. I go to here, I select that, and notice there's no more library here, right? And this is to use external instrument plugin if I wanted to as well. And the output is off. Now I'll show you something here too. I'll go back here to create. It creates this MIDI device. It's a GM, General MIDI device. And what this is, I can actually play, let's say, some MIDI information right here. And it would trigger the sounds in a module. Let's say it's a Yamaha motif or it's an MPC drum machine. Well, I can trigger those samples in that MPC using this external general MIDI track. As you can see in the channel strip, it's a GM track, external general MIDI. I can record here, I can mute in solo as well, as you can see right there. And here, of course, as you can see here, we can change. As we turn this, you'll notice the level change on the track itself right here. Right? Now next, we'll load another track up. And we're going to look at audio next. Go to audio. And here in audio, you can see here we have an input and we have an output. So we have an input in one, and we have the output here as well. And I'm going to create one track. Go to create. And now we have this track. But you notice here also as well, as I talk, this moves up and down. You notice the meter going up and down here as I talk, And so as I'm talking here, it's receiving the input from my mic that I'm using to record this video with. So it's receiving the audio input directly into the system. And this is an audio track that we're looking at right now. So this is an audio track for our Logic setup. And this is our input monitor. I can go to here, I select this, and this is input monitoring going on right here, that we have right here. Now you can hear me a little more. As I raise the level up there, you can hear it as I'm talking through. And I can go back to here and turn that off, and now there's no more input monitoring. So remember, this is our audio track. Let's add another new track now. Go here, and the next one down the line is guitar or bass. So I'll select this, and I'll select create. Now you notice here, whoa, look at that. So you heard that. It's like a lot of noise coming in, right? And so what happens here is that it's coming through an amp now. This is an amplifier here. See, it says Brit and clean, right? And, oh, it's bright rather, and clean. And here we have chicken pickin' amp, right? So you have these amps you can select here. So I can plug a bass or guitar in, and you see clean bass. We have a crunch bass. These are different amps that are selected that we can use for our input. Now we still have our input going on, and I'll pull this all the way down actually, a little further down, and turn the monitoring back on. And you can hear my voice go through there, but it's going through the amp. So if I had a guitar plugged up or a bass plugged up in here, I can play, but I'm playing through this virtual amp inside of Logic Pro. So the next thing I want to do is load up another track here. I'll press Option Command N. And now I want to load a drummer track. You see it's already selected there. We did the audio tracks here. We have our soft MIDI, external MIDI. And next, we're going to go with our drummer track. I'll press Create. And you notice here what happens is that we have some MIDI information already right here in our channel strip. It says SoCal right there, right? And we have a track. This is a drum track, as you can see right there. It's not a MIDI region, but actually a drum audio track. And we have a drummer. This drummer here is called Kyle. See that? And it's straightforward rock beat on a natural, versatile kit, right? It says SoCal right here. Here's the kit right here. Some controls for that kit. And you see it right here also in our library, of course, right? For our library. And this is SoCal. So let me just play this back. I'll go to here and play it back. And we can hear back this drum kit. It's in stereo. You can see here the input and the output here. So I play it back. I can move this here too. Make it softer. And I'll press stop. So the unique thing here within Logic Pro X now is we've got these drummers we can pull in. We can take some of these files, we can keep them, say, I like the way that drummer sounds, or take a part here, or change your drummer. We'll do it later on. But what we want to do next is we want to save this now as a new template. So I can go back here, I can go to save, right? I can save as a template. So sometimes when I'm working, I like to have a certain setup. Let's say if I'm doing a club thing, or I'm doing a film score or commercial. I don't have a certain setup for, let's say, a hip-hop commercial or a rock commercial or just a general like music theme commercial, a theme drama commercial thing. So you may want to keep a separate template setup. And once I do, I'll call this, let's see, my new template, right? And you'll notice here, it's already saying, well, where you want to save it? It selected the project templates folder already, which is really great. Now I can press save, and now this becomes my new template. But you notice here it's not a song, it says Untitled, but it is my new template. So let's close this out actually. Once I say do that, it says save, I'll say of course, but I don't have to, right? I just want the template. I go back here, new from template, and then you'll notice here I have the basic templates that come with Logic. I have my recent song, but here under my templates, I have my new template. I can select choose to open it up, and my template will open it up the way I left it. And this is a great way for you to have your own templates for your projects. Now, working inside of Logic, I like to use audio inputs like a microphone. And earlier you saw in my video, we were actually looking at audio tracks. And once I open that audio track in, wow, in comes this audio, right? So on our Mac, we have this core audio system. It's audio Midi Setup. And it helps us to use hardware, like audio interface hardware. It's really great because you can get really great devices that can give you really great audio signals. Let's look at that. So right here, I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to press Shift-Command-A. I'm going to get up my Applications folder. Scroll to the bottom here. I want to go to Utilities. I select Utilities, and here in Utilities, I can select the Audio Midi Setup. We'll select this right here. And once we do, you'll see it's right here. Now, if you don't see it, you go here, you go to Show Audio Window. And now we see our audio window. We have built-in microphone, built-in output, which is 1 and 2. You see, built-in microphone is 1 and 2 as well, right? I can select that, and we can see here we have a master output, which you can see right there. I select here our master input, which is 1 and 2. I'll move my cursor right here. I get the little arrow right there, and we can see this input-output. I can see the level it's coming in, and the value and the dB level right here. I also have another device here. I have an external interface device I have here. And I've just got this one actually recently. I'm going to plug it in, and we're going to see how it looks. Now, once I plug this device in, you'll notice something's happening here. It recognized the device. It's a Complete Audio 6 from Native Instruments. It's a really great device. I love using it. It's not too expensive. It's got a great sound as well. Let's select that device. I select it, and now we can see here are the channels. I have 1 and 2 input, 3 and 4. We have SPDIF, which is left and right input here, and these are inputs, right? I can also have an external clock hooked up here, or an internal clock. Right? And I can go to output here for my Complete Audio 6. Let's move our cursor here, pull back, and we can see the channels. We have our master, we have 1 and 2 output. We also have the output 3 and 4 again, and we have the SPDIF. So we have 6 in, 6 out, which is really great. And we can see we can change our format. Now, our format is based on our bit depth. So here I can go from 44.1 hertz, like a CD would have, to 48, to 882, to 96K. Now, be aware of this. The higher your bit depth is, the bigger the files will be that you're going to store into your system. It's going to take up a lot of hard drive space, so be aware of that too as well. And we can see here it's 6 channel, and it's 24-bit. You see it right there. Go to here, and that's 44.1, right? And you can see that there as well too. And we can see our value, of course, and our dB level here. And this is with the Complete Audio 6. Now, if I go back to Logic here, Logic has recognized that it's scanned for it. It's recognized that we have an audio device. And it has detected the device, and the name, of course, is Complete Audio 6. Now, it's important for you to get a really good device that you can work with so you can go input-output, whether it's a microphone or a drum machine, or a friend may come over with his own device or keyboard that you can use that gets you a quality sound into your system. So now I have Logic open. We want to look at our audio preferences. So I'll go right here to Logic, go to Preferences, we'll look at audio. So here in audio, I can see the devices. So as you saw earlier, I hooked up my Complete Audio 6 to my Apple Audio Midi Setup for the core system. It says here, Core Audio. So Logic recognizes the core audio, connects to it, and then we can see the information right here in Preferences. So I have the output, which you can see right here, System Settings, and I have the Complete, and I also have Built-in. I also have an input, of course. I can go to Microphone, and then I'll say Apply right here, the lower left hand. And once I do, you notice these audio tracks appear here. Let me close the Preferences window, and you'll see it also here on my channel strip for Audio 1. As I'm talking, it's actually receiving the audio from the microphone plugged into my system. Go back to Preferences, we'll go back to Audio, And now I'm going to go back here to input, select my complete audio 6 from Native Instruments. I'll select apply, and now it's gone. It's waiting to receive the audio input from that external hardware audio device, which is my complete audio 6. So you got to be aware of that. And sometimes you may have to reset or have a mistake happen or some sort of audio error happens. To reset your system, it's just like that. You want to go back in here. Let's say you go to this, you pop it back on, and then say, great, I turn the core audio off and on from enabled. I'll select apply, and then we've reset the device again. So it's important to get a really good audio device. You want to record some great vocals. You want to record good guitar parts, bass parts. Maybe a bass player comes in, or you want to sample something. Make sure you have a quality audio device. You can get them from $60,000 to $5,000. You can pay it for it, but get a quality one. And if you want to know more about it, just check with us. Now, if you're going to do some really good recording, it's important for you to get a really great hardware interface, a great audio interface. Now here, for example, I want to show you a few. This is a PreSonus audio. This is a Focusrite. This is a really quality interface. This is the Avid system, which they have, which is really good also, which is used for a system called Pro Tools, but your Apple hardware will recognize it through the core audio, through the audio MIDI setup. It's important because we want to make sure the audio that we're recording in, which is analog, is converted to zeros and ones through our system, which is digital. We want to get the same quality of the sound that we hear. You know, where it's nice warm sound from that bass, or a nice warm sound from the singer. We want to make sure it doesn't have this digital artifacts where it pops and clicks, or it sounds too whiny or thin. So it's important to get the right device. There's another Avid system right there. Earlier you just saw a Duet from Apogee. Apogee makes great devices. So does Avid. The PreSonus is pretty good. And also, the Metric Halo is a really great system. These devices can cost between $60 and $5,000. You may want to buy it used sometimes, but make sure you buy a quality device. For example, here, the Ensemble has multiple inputs. I can use several different microphones and get a great output. But pick the device that works best for your system because it's so important to get the best audio quality possible. So the beauty of using Logic is that Logic has this extensive MIDI operation going on where you can do MIDI output to an external module, or you can use a MIDI controller to play in, or I can use a MIDI controller to control the faders, or like a mixing board or something directly in the Logic. I can use it on my iPad as well. Now, let's start out with one thing, the audio MIDI setup again. Let's go back to here. We're going to hide that. And here I am on my desktop. To get to the utility folder, much easier. I'm going to press Shift, Command, and U. And now we're in the utility folder. I'll select Audio MIDI Setup. You can see it right here. Now you notice already I've got my MIDI window open. If yours isn't open, go to Windows, go to our Hide or Show, our MIDI window. Now once it's selected here, you'll see I still have my complete Audio 6 hooked up from Native Instruments. And here, this is going to work with my system. Now, if you have a device, you want to probably test your device. You can test it by just selecting this here. Let's say it's a keyboard. You just want to hit that keyboard. You'll hear a little sound knowing that the device checks out. You can also rescan for the devices set up to your system. And as you do, the MIDI setup here will look for the device. I can also configure. For example, I've got this going on here. I may want to make a new configuration, say edit. This is pretty good here. Looks good, right? So I have a default. I can go back to here and say I want to make a new configuration. I want to call this my Logic setup. So I call Logic setup. I'll press OK. And then now this is my Logic setup. I have the complete Audio 6. And that's all we see. If I go back to here to default, we'll see the default, which comes with this USB MIDI device, plus the complete Audio 6. See that? I can go to here and select what's going to work for me for my MIDI input and output within Logic currently. So set your system up before you start for your MIDI and your audio. Another great feature in Logic is the ability to use different devices to create MIDI information and MIDI files. It's really great to use. So, for example, here, I have a couple devices here. You can use an Akai MPD24. It's like pads, faders. We also can use M audio systems. Here, we have another one that's keyboard with knobs again and faders again. We also have MIDI controllable devices where they're like rack modules, where I have MIDI output going directly to them, and I can use Logic to play parts and then send them out to these devices. So I have other devices that will receive information, and they're MIDI controllable devices. They can be controlled through MIDI from other software or machine, like this Yamaha Motif Rack XS. Or I might play a keyboard part, and the MIDI information will go from here directly into this machine and play it back. It's older because today we're using mostly a lot of software devices, but you will see it around the world in many studios because the sound is great and the quality is right there. So you got to pick the device that fits you and works well within your system. There are also MIDI interface control surfaces that I use like a mixing board surface, where I can interface with my Logic software, move faders up and down, bring reverbs up and audio files, and work with that system. And a great way to play MIDI information into your Logic Pro system is let's go to Windows here. I'm going to go to Show Musical Typing. We told you earlier, I can actually type these parts in. See this? I can play them. I have A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K. So I can play entire scale right there. The C scale right there. We have the black keys, which is W, E, N, T, Y, U. And of course, we have O, P over here at the other end as well. Now we can also lower the octave. Again. Or raise it. See that? And I can also use this velocity, but this only works pretty much with just using a different keyboard. We have a sustain too as well, and we have our pitch bend here, as you can see, on or off as well, and the max modulation. But you can use this to record some songs. I can play chords on here, and I can record them as MIDI data. And you'll see that appear here in the classic electric piano. And of course, you can always switch to a different sound and record it into Logic. Now we can also talk to control services with Logic. I'm going to go to Logic here, and you'll see control services under Preferences. I'll go to Setup. We get this window right here. And I can go to New, but what I wanted to do, I want to scan all models, or just scan see what you got. It's going to look and see what we have connected to the system. The models shown, italicized, in the install window cannot be scanned because this is technically impossible. So that means they're not here. So you can see we're just scrolling through. But if I did have some set up here, it would see it and say, yes, we could use this device or we can use that device. So once you find a device you like and you think you're going to use it, you pull it in, it will scan for it and say, yeah. So for example, here's Frontier. It can't use that. Here's an Apple G here. So see that? But other devices, if they were set up here, it would see it and say, okay, we can use this device for controlling Logic Pro 10. I prefer to have a certain setup when I'm using Logic, and you may too as well. And to do that, we use our preference window. So I'm going to go here to Logic, we'll select Preferences, and I'm going to go to General here, which opens the window totally, right? So here we are, I'm going to go to General, and we have Project Handling. This is an important preference for me. It says Startup Action. So when Logic starts up, and okay, I got a project I'm doing, or do I want a new project? I don't know. I'm confused. Nope. The best thing to do for me is to have Ask. But let's look at the options. We can have Do Nothing or Open Most Recent Project. I select that. Every time Logic opens up, it'll bring up my last project. Or I can always say here, just ask me and I'll know what to do for that situation in that time too when it comes up. We also have editing here. I can change some editing parameters. The number of undos for one. I prefer to have 100 undos. That way I have enough undos. If I get into a song and I erase, cut out, change a mix, do this, I'm going to go back far enough where I can say, well, let's hear how it sounded a little before then. I think we did too much here or there or whatever. We can add last edit functions to region names. We have fade tool, click zones. So here we'll go over more of this as we start dealing with automation and of course with MIDI parameters when editing. Next we have audio. We went through audio already where we had the output device and our input device. And we set up our core audio system. Below that though we have our I/O buffer. Now the buffer size means that it's going to take some time and uses a certain amount of CPU power in order to create these sample rates we have right here. So samples, right? 64 samples. Now if I go to here and I have 512 samples, you'll notice that my resulting latency is going to be 25.6 milliseconds. Now this is calculated value that equals the acoustic latency when standing, let's say, 8.76 meters away from something, right? So you'll have a latency that's natural sometimes. I'm standing away from a particular, let's say, a singer, you're in the background or you're on stage, right? But this is latency internally within the system. So that means that the CPU power is converting the audio into digital, and it takes a little bit of time to do that, so you can hear it back at the same time while the music plays, which is kind of amazing actually anyway. And so here, for example, I go back to the 4 samples, and wow, we're at 5.3 milliseconds, which is a really short period of time. So when doing vocals, we want to be at lower samples. And when mixing, I'm using my mixing system, I want to mix up some music, I want to be at a little bit higher rate here, so I can use more CPU power for my buffer size. And standard, I might go just with 128. Now below that we have our 24-bit recording, software monitoring, and input monitoring only for focused tracks. It means I selected this track here, I'm focused on that track, and so I have my record enabled on. And so we want to input monitor, hear back what's on that track, or as I'm playing the guitar, I want to hear what's on that track and then press record, and I'm punching myself into the track, which we'll do later on. We also have score. We have movie automation setups here, as you can see here. And we have my info, and we have advanced. Now in advanced, we want to have this show advanced tools feature selected because it enables advanced features. This includes project alternatives and backups. So we want to constantly back up in case we have a problem, the power cuts out, or our computer crashes. We're going to make sure of a backup of the last available session. Then we have beat mapping, expanded mix and automation capabilities as well. So I keep this one selected. Now also we have surround sound here. I can unselect that and we don't have it. I'll select it again, and we do. And you notice when I do that, Logic cuts out and comes back because it's adding the surround sound to it. This is a very new feature to it. So here, let me close this window up, and we're looking at an audio track here, and here's my stereo track. And you'll notice here, under output, I have surround sound now. See that? That's surround sound. I can select surround sound for that particular track. I go to audio track here, this drum track here. I can go here and I can select surround sound here for the drums and play it back. Now I'm going to go back here to preferences, go to advanced tools, and I can turn it off. Leave disabled or enabled. Leave disabled. There are other preferences I need to use too as well besides the global ones, and they are project-specific settings, which are saved with your project when you save it. And we're going to go here to File, and we're going to look at the project settings. We have General, Synchronization, Metronome, Recording, everything's there. And you'll see it right here. This is for the My template. See that? These are project settings. And you see here, use musical grid. We have synchronization settings right here. We can sync internally. We can use MIDI time control. We can use manual control here. We'll go to internal. I can auto-enable external sync and tap tempo. We can set our frame rate. Let's say we're doing film. Our frame rate could be 30, drop. See? 30 right there. Or I can go back to 24. We can validate the MIDI time code right here. MTC for MIDI time code. We have audio also as well. And we have MIDI. So these are specific to the session. I have metronome, recording. We have tuning. Keep my tuning perfectly in sync. Here with 44.0, which is, of course is A. We have MIDI. We have score, and we have movie, and we have assets as well, where I can copy audio files into a project. Let's say I'm doing a project, and I've got these files I got from my hard drive, and they're on my hard drive, but I want to recopy those files and save them for the specific song. That way Logic won't have to search for them. They're already in the folder in the project. So you need to be aware of a lot of stuff that goes on in here, and we'll explain as we go along further. But you see some of these elements you saw earlier, like this ultra beat samples in the project. We saw that earlier when we were trying to save that one package of the startup template we used. So now I'm going to open up Logic, and of course, a couple ways to do that. So here I have the Logic software. I click on it, and as I showed you before, now it's asking me what do I want to do. And I can open up my last session, open another existing session, or create a new project from a template, or just get an empty project. So look, I'm going to open up my last project, and it'll open up pretty quickly, and we're there. That's pretty fast, right? Okay, so I've been saving the project file on my desktop, so I can also open up Logic by just clicking on that file, and that file will open up. And it'll be just as fast as before. It's pretty simple. Now in this video, I want to talk more about the overall look and the area you're going to spend most of your time in, which is our main window. And you can see it right here, of course. We have some files here, different colors. You can see we have names here for different tracks. Well, what happens here is you can see I have this guitar delayed, and you see it's sort of highlighted here. And in its track here horizontally, you can see we have these regions. So I can just click on this region here, and that region is highlighted, and this one is highlighted. And these regions are audio. And you can see here we have these samples. You can see how these waveformers right here where it goes up and down. There's a little thin line between it. And we have these little areas here, here, and here. This is an audio waveform. And you can tell it's stereo because there are two circles adjacent to the name, to the immediate right-hand side of the name, here you can see it. And these two little circles represent a stereo audio file. If there's one circle, it would mean just a single mono audio file. Now right below that here we have another region. See these dots and like dashes, like almost like a code. This is a MIDI region, and this is a MIDI file, a MIDI region right here. So these are soft instruments right here. This one says piano, and this is a MIDI soft instrument. So this is a MIDI region, and it's played through MIDI, like a virtual keyboard. So I can click on here, and you'll see it sort of expands out, and you'll see more of this file here. See this here? And then here, so I click on here for the guitar hits, we'll see this. So this whole track here, this guitar hits here, corresponds to this part here, and then this is the audio for that part, right? So I can go to here, we'll say, and I can play it back. Can't hear it too well. I can go to here and I can solo it. So in this track setup, I have the ability to solo tracks and mute tracks. And you'll see that right here. I have this M. I can mute a track. I can solo that track. I can't do both at the same time, obviously. But you can see that there. And here, these are soft instruments There are instruments I explained before that are actually inside of Logic. And so we can go to here, we can record. See, it's record enable. This is record enable and record enabled right here as well. Now on the same track, we have a volume setting. So I can raise or lower the volume for that instrument that's on that track. For example, this is the guitar hits here. This is sold now. If I play it back and we're going to hear it, I can change the level by or raising it or lowering. So I'll bring it down and bring it back down again and stop it. Now I can see this audio file here, and you notice it looks kind of small actually. I'm going to click on this part here, our track here, and I can probably expand it just a little bit right there, and I can see it a little bit better, right, the audio region. But right here you'll notice too that, let's see, I click here, and if I click here, I only see one level. But I can go to here, grab this little button here, and I can squash it down or make it larger. So I can see that audio file much, much better if I want to see a little bit more and get a better look of what audio is on that track. Now I can do this overall within the track grid here where I have these channels here for each track, right? So we can go to here in the upper right hand corner and I can horizontally zoom in. So I'm zooming in now to that one region. You can see there actually the entire session where we have all the tracks. Right? And that's the horizontal zoom button we have here. We also have a vertical zoom button, which I can go to here and I can vertically zoom. So now you can see the full stereo of this entire track. Now if I go back down, we only see just one file, right? But if you open it up wider, you'll see both sides of the stereo field, which is kind of cool. This also can be done by just clicking on Command and use up and down arrows. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to go up, and then down. I can just hold it there and it expands the entire track for you. I can also do that by holding down Command and my left and right arrows will do the horizontal zoom. Now it's easy to go from the beginning to the end of your track view. So I can hit my return button and it takes me right back to the top. I press Command now and I want to zoom in horizontally and we hit the space bar to play. And stop. If I want to go back to the top, I press return. Now we'll look at tracks. Now I can just select a track. There's one there, there's one here. I can also hold down Shift and select tracks. And now they're in focus. But if I pull down the view, I'm only going to pull down the view of one track that way. And if I just want to see one track, I'll select this track and it will stop the focusing on several tracks at once. As we select each channel, you'll notice here on extreme left, we have our inspector. And so we can see the region inspector and we can see the track inspector right here. We see this track here. This is guitar chop. That's the track there. And it's the inspector for that track. Now here in the region inspector here, it shows you the region. So for example, I have this part selected, its region, and it's 40 selected. So there are 40 different regions within this one channel track right there. If I select the guitar delayed, we'll see 28 different regions. Now if I move my cursor here into a blank area within anywhere within this grid, nothing selected here, right? So I'm going to go right back here. I'm going to select one region here. And now we see this region. And we see the information about that one region right there. If I select this region here, now we see the information about this region, which appears here. But it's not on this track. See? This is the acoustic guitar. Got that? But that's not the acoustic guitar track, so be aware of that. So if I want to be in a region, I'll select the region right here. I want to make sure it's in that track, and I know this region belongs to that track, and it's selected for that purpose. So we have region. And also, if I have a video that's tied to my track, that section of the video, wherever I'm at here, based on my playback head, will show up here in the video window for the inspector for movie. Now below that we have group. So I've already grouped these tracks up. We'll go over that later on as we group up tracks and mixing. But currently, you'll see this here as a group because this is part of my inspector. So when I select the track, the inspector fills up with all information about that track and that channel, which is really good actually. Now below that we have our track here, and we have the different processors that are happening here. These are real-time processing going on with this track. You'll see we have a pedal board, an amp, we have this side delay, we have this S1 delay rather, we have this compressor, we have a tape delay, we have a single sample delay here, we have a gain. And that's all for this one track. And we also have these two faders you can see right here. So this is the left channel and the right channel. So my left channel here is for the delay, the guitar delay. And you'll see here as I move this fader up and down that this button for the volume right here within the channel, which is my volume button, moves as well. We also have a pan, so I can pan from left to right. Now here we also have the solo and we have the mute. Now if I pull down here a little more, you'll see right here that we also have that same panning directly on the channel itself too as well. So I've got this one track right here, right? This is this channel right here. Well, adjacent to that channel is my master output. Now, you'll always see that. If I click on any one of these tracks, I'm going to click on the nylon guitar right here. And you notice the guitar is there right here, but the master output is adjacent to that one. I'm going to go here to the piano. And this master is here always. It's a kind of a cool way to have the master track next to that other track. Because you may want to listen back and you may want to raise levels and see how the level of that track corresponds to everything else. So I can click here and say, oh, I can bring it down or bring it up, and I can see how it is compared to my overall master. So the master is here, and we have the mute and the solo for the master as well. So when the inspector comes up, we can see the track or channel selected in our overall main window, and we also get our master output. So here is my inspector, and I can close it. It's a little eye right here, right above it in my control bar. See, it says inspector. Now I click that button, and now no more inspector. This can be done pretty easily too from your keyboard. Just select the I button, and you can open and you can close that window. Now, what's on top here is our control bar, of course, obviously. And next to the I button, we have our library. So here, let's say I have this acoustic guitar. I might want to change it. I have my library. I have access. I can click right here to this vocoder. And here we go. We have a library. So the library is there too as well, right there next to it, right? And here on the extreme right-hand side, we have our browser button. So here, I can see the browser, the Apple loops. We can see our notes and our event list right here. And list editors are right here. And they will appear on the right-hand side of our window. So I'll click here for this browser, and you'll see here we can see files. We can see all files. And these are files on our hard drive where we can see. We can see media. If I bring a movie in or bring some other audio in, I can do that. Or go to movies and bring those in. I can go to projects. And here in projects, I will see the audio files for that project. And now we're in the specific project that's open right now. I can also close that window, hit that button again. I can go to here and open up Apple loops. Now you might be familiar with Apple loops from GarageBand. And here we have a bunch of audio and MIDI files that we can use and reuse and edit that are right here in the software. See, we have scale, we have signature. Right here, we have different time signatures. Here we have scale, minor, major, neither, good for both. So we have a really great way to actually bring in files right out of Apple's library. Now here we have notes. I can have notes on any one track. So I select the track right here. I can make notes about the session or the file. Let's close notes out. And here we have our editor. So here we have this is the events editor right here. We have our marker, so I can have the intro, verse, chorus, the bridge, this goes here, this is the outro. You can label them, mark them off right here and set them up. We also have tempo. I may have different tempos going on. Particularly if I'm doing a movie or doing a a commercial. I may have a certain tempo for the beginning and a certain tempo at the end. You never know. I may have speed up or slow down. It's all marked off here. And we have time signature as well. So it's a really cool way to run around the track and get all the events and know what's what and where it's at. And this is our editor list. We also have other editors that we can use that are on the bottom of our main window. Now you can access those. I can go to right here. This little button right there, that's for our mixer window. And I can pull the mixer up. I can also adjust the height of this window. So I can pull the way up, and I'm right there to the top of my main window. And we can see all the tracks that are in the mixer. Now I'm using my trackpad to go from left to right to slide across the entire mixing board that I would have for this session, this virtual mixing board. If I go all the way to the right, we can now see that main master fit I was talking about before earlier when we had the inspector open. I can pull this down all the way down here, and now it's gone. Now here also we have this one with the scissors. That's my editor. So here I have track and file, right? And I'd say I went to a MIDI track right here, and now becomes a MIDI editor. I have the step editor, I have the score editor right here. I can edit the score for that particular track, and the piano roll, where I can see the MIDI information. And of course, I can adjust it up or down like I did earlier with the mixer window. Now next to that mixer window right here, this little button right here, we have this one. This is our smart button here. And this is really cool. This smart button allows us to go to our plugins, and we can edit our plugins from right here. Once I pull it up, you notice that the window expands, and I get a better view of the plugins used. I have the compressor, we have our pitch correction, and our limiter that we have for that particular track. And of course, as always, I can pull it back down and get rid of that window. I want to go over a few more things here with my control bar. So if I can click here for the toolbars, you can see right below the control bar, we get our toolbar. We have auto zoom, we have split at playhead, split at location, we can balance regions, that's almost bouncing two regions together. We can nudge the values by moving a region forward or backwards. We can repeat sections. So this is pretty cool. I love this section here because I can do certain things within my main window, and particularly here for these regions, whether it's going to be an audio or a MIDI region. I can close it here too as well. Pretty simple. Now, right here is my transport section, right? So here, for example, I have this rewind button. Now I can move this playback head here. You see where it's 16? That's bar 16. Now I click it once, bar 15, then 14 and 13. So this rewind button allows me to go back one bar at a time. Now here, the button next to that is my go to the beginning button, which is obvious. Click this once and I'm back at the top. Here's my play button. I can also play if I just hit the space bar. And I can stop hitting the space bar as well. Now, I can play and I can pause the play right where it's at. And then hit pause again, it continues. I'll press stop here. Now next to that pause button, we have our record button, which is right here. That's obvious. It's a red button. It's going to record. So right here, this is information and location information about the session. So if I click here, we see this little musical sign, and we see the metronome. It says display mode. I click there, and we'll see it has the beats and project. We have the beats and time, beats, time. We have customized. So currently we're in beats and projects. So here we see the bar, beats, division, and the ticks. And here we have the BPM. This is the key signature of the project, currently F major. And right here is a note value for my time signature of the session. Now next to that, we have other parameters as well here. As you can see, low latency, we have the cycle, we also have replace, and we have solo. And I can change this also and add other features here. And I just added auto punch. See that? It happens right there in the window. I can go here and take out auto punch. Now it's important before we start recording music is to get familiar with your main window and all the features we covered. You can also go here, I can put my cursor here right below that control bar and pull down. You see what happens? I get to see that tool menu bar also, okay? And over here, I can go to time and see time. I can customize this totally. We'll cover this later on. But I want you to get familiar with how everything works on your main window. In our last lesson, we were able to open and close different windows within the main window. Where I went to, let's go back to here, and go back to beats and bars, get a better view, and I can go to here, and I can see what's on the hard drive. We can also do this and have them come up as a separate window within the system. So for example, I'm going to go to Open Mixer, and here the mixer window opens. It's pretty cool. I can also resize this window. I can pull up here from the corner and resize it vertically or horizontally, or I can go from the bottom or from the side. I can also press the screen button right here, like with any other Mac window, click it, and it opens up to full screen view. And of course, to close it, just press Command W and that window closes. I'm going to open up the mixer window again, which is Command 2. And also, you can see here, I can scroll across my mixer with my trackpad. So I'm moving my hand across the trackpad, 2 fingers sliding across the trackpad, and I'm sliding across the view of my mixer. As I go all the way to the right, you'll see we have here that master fader we saw earlier when we were looking at the inspector. It's right there. And of course, I can scroll back. And of course, I can close the window, right? Now, I can also, let's say, click right here where nothing's at all. And I can go here to Window, and I want to look at Piano Roll. I pull it up. As you notice, it opens up. Nothing's in it. Blank. Zip. So I'm going to close this window. You've got to select something first, right? So I'm selecting this window here. I can press Command 4, and I can pull the window up again, right? But what I can do here also, I can go to here, and let's say select this one right here, and I can select Option and click twice. And now the window opens up, and we see the view also of the MIDI notes that are for that piano track. And I can also move my cursor here back and forth from right to left for my trackpad with 2 fingers. And it's a cool way to get the view much quicker than having to tap it in and to actually go, let's say, Command 4. I can do the same thing here by just double clicking here twice, and you'll notice at the bottom we get that piano roll window again here. And I can scroll up here. Now before, we had to go to our control bar and select this button right here, which is my editor's button right there. With that scissors, you can see right there. And I can pull up and down. But a better view, of course, is to always just select Option, click on the pad on the actual sound I want to look at there. And I can drag up here on my pad and see the actual information for the piano roll. You can also do the same thing for an audio region. So I can go right here, I'm going to hold down Option, I'm going to double click on this region, and now a window opens up. And you can see right here, right above it, within this timeline, we have that region highlighted right here. See it? But it looks so small right here. It looks pretty small here in the actual main window. So just like on the main window within Logic, on this window that opened up, I have my vertical zoom. So I can actually pull the vertical zoom way up there, get a better look at it, and I can squash it down or get it tighter. And now I can see where I'm really at right here, right? You can see it much better. So before, where was I? I don't know. So now you can see where you are. And we can see this section right here, and this is where I'm at. So it's a great way to pull up that window separately, and I can edit this audio window, this audio sample in the window, audio window, and get a better view of what I'm editing, and I can see what's going on. So I can hold down Option, I can select a MIDI region or an audio region, and I can open them up in a window. But you'll notice here that we do not see an open audio editor, right? So if I go to Preferences here, select Preferences, I'm going to go to Advanced Tools. Here we have Audio. I select this. Now this enables the destructive audio editing and advanced configuration options for audio editing. Okay, so I'll just close this up now. And then we'll go back here to the window. And now we see it here, Open Audio File Editor. So I can go to here, select that up, open the window, and it opens it for the file. If I want to see it, of course, I may have to just drag this in, expand it out further, and I'll be able to see that audio section, which is right there. Let's close the window. Now, one window I like to use a lot is my event list window. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to look for that, and that should be the event list right here, which is Command 7, and we see it right here. Now I can click up one here, and now we can see the events from where the playback head is at. So if I move the playback head, you'll notice it move across this page here, right down. As I move across the timeline with the playback head, you can see where it's at in my event list. And so this is every track here on the list. And it shows you what event is happening at that specific location of the playhead. And I can also go here and say that it's a MIDI file right here. And once I do this MIDI region, which is the piano suitcase right there, I select this one, I select that one, you'll see now it populates with all the notes, the quantized value, and other information about that specific MIDI region. So this is really cool. If I go to audio, we see nothing. Of course, this is an event list, but we do see where that this audio file is at, that this guitar hits is at, and it's right there. I go to piano suitcase, and this is the electric piano suitcase Rhodes, and I can scroll up and down here, and I can select an event. Well, this event. And as I do, we'll hear it back. I can also click in here and change the note if I want to. This is a cool way to actually edit information for that particular MIDI region, or I can go back here, click the arrow here, the leave folder up here, and I'm one level back up. I'm looking at every single part of every track at the playhead in my event list. Now, a great way to work within Logic is to use screen sets. And the reason why I like that, because I can go from, let's say, fixing a vocal or fixing an audio section, and then pull the audio window up and then pulling up the mixer window and adjust this. Or go to a MIDI section and fix the piano. The piano player is here now. He's back in the session. I can fix the piano part, pull the MIDI region up, pull the editor up, fix it up, and I want to go back and forth. This is how it works. So right here, I've got one screen set up. You'll notice this right here on the buttons right there, right? It says to start. I can go to, let's say, 7. Let's go to 7. I'll hit 7. You notice it closes, opens back up. I get this simple, basic opening for a screen set. I'll get the view I want, drop my inspector out. I want to probably move the window this way, get a better horizontal view, a little better vertical view, sort of widen it up a little bit, just like that right there. I may want to add something. So let's say I've got this guitar here. This is a nylon guitar, right? So I'm going to open up this window here. I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to press Option, double click. I get that window, right? I can see that guitar right there where it's at. And I may also want to look at this guitar from the view of my editor. So I'm going to pull this over here a little bit more and move this over here, just size the window where I want it to be at. Go back to window again, and I want to look for my open event list. Pull it up, get this over here. I got a view. Now I can see the events for the guitar, my nylon guitar. I can see them in a visual way right here. I can edit. Perfect. I want to save this set. So here this is 7. I go to lock. It's locked in. You'll notice because there's a period, little dot there, in front of the 7. I know it's locked. It's kind of cool. Now, this is done. So, I want to go back to my first screen set. Bam! I'm right here. Now, this is a great way to actually get around on the system and go back and forth between screen sets as I'm doing my project. Now also, let's say I want to adjust the screen set. I go to here, I'll unlock this screen set. Let's see, I want to probably, let's go here. I want to pull up the mixer. Yeah, I got the mixer window right there. And now I want to save it. So I go back here, I go to lock, I'm locked back in again. Now I can go, let's say, to 7. Then back to screen set number 1. And I'm good to go. May want to adjust the height. Let me bring this down somewhat here. I may just want to see this part here, the information on each track. I go to here, unlock, and then relock. Go back to 2, go back to 1, and it's adjusted. This is a great way to get around and adjust certain screen sets the way you want them, and then to readjust them. Now, here you'll notice we can duplicate. I can delete a screen set. I can go back here to 7. I don't like it. I go here, delete it. That screen set is gone, and the next screen set underneath it comes back in. So be aware of that too as well. If you get rid of a screen set, the screen set previous to it will load automatically, okay? Then here, as you can see here, we can delete it. We can rename a screen set. So I've got a screen set here. This is 2, and I want to rename it. So I go back here to rename it, and then this is new setup. And go to there. It's renamed. I go back here. You'll see the name appear right there, right next to the number. It's so cool. A much easier way to work with. And now, let's say we want to get to double digits, right? You just want to hold down the control button and select your digit. And now you see there I got 11. I can close this up here. I want to go to an expanded view. And let's say I want to pull up this one from the bottom window, this guitar. And I want to save it. I go to here. I select lock. It's locked in. And now we have a double-digit number for a screen set. You can have up to 99 different screen sets. They're cool. While working in Logic Pro X, it's really important to know how to move around your session, to move your playback head. You see right here, I grab it and move it anywhere in the session. Also, how to rewind, fast forward, and get to specific points in your session, and how to use the playback. Let's go over that right now. This is really important. So I'm going to go here, as you can see right now, and I can move anywhere in my session. I just got to hit the space bar, and we start playing. If I want to go backwards, I can go here to my rewind button, and I can go back by 1 bar at a time each click. Or my fast forward button, I can move fast forward it up 1 bar at a time. And of course here, this button here is go to the beginning. So I can go right back to the beginning, and my stop turns into that. Otherwise, it's a stop button. So no matter where I'm at, that stop button returns into this go back to the beginning button. It's important there, right? You never know. And then, of course, our play button. And then here we have our record button. So we can go anywhere in the session. Now, I can also go forwards or backwards by just selecting the period to go forward by 1 bar. That's my forward button. Or the comma button to go back by 1 bar. And you can tell because there's 2 arrows. There's greater than and less than arrows right above the period and the comma. So you can go backwards or forwards. It's an easier way to get around. Now next to our transport section right here, we have our LCD. As I talked about earlier, here we have our display mode. So currently I'm in beats and project. So for example, here I'm at bar 4, right? And here I'm at beat 1. This is division 1. This is ticks 1. So the bars can be divided by the beats, the divisions, and then the ticks. Now ticks are about 240 ticks to every division of that one division. So here I'm going to scroll on to 240. You'll see it right there. And we're here at 240. You'll see it. And you really can't see much going on here with this. But if I widen the view up a little bit more here, we get a little closer in on this, you're going to see it much better as we move closer and closer to the playback head. We get a better view of what it looks like. So right here is our playback head. And as I'm moving here, you'll see it move. It's really minute, really small amounts. But see, we're right there. we're at 344 and 239 ticks. We're close. So one more tick means we'll be at 4. There you go. 2 more ticks. We got to go to 40 and then 0. So 240 ticks per division. And so let's say I want to go to a specific point in the track. So I'm going to go back here again, and I'm going to change this view a little bit more like this here. And I can just double click here in my LCD display right here. I say I want to go to bar 16. Go to bar 16, and then I want to go to beat number 2 and division 1. And we'll say the ticks will be 212. And I'll press enter, and I'm right there. Another way to move around this session is to just click and drag on any one of the parameters, whether it's bars, beats, divisions, or ticks. So I can click here, it's highlighted, I drag up and down, and I want to drag down, it moves further to the left, to the top of the song. When I drag up, it moves to the right, to the end of the song, as you can see right there. Now the same thing happens here for beats. You see it's smaller increments, and then here in division, it gets smaller and smaller as I drag. And of course, in ticks, it requires a lot of dragging just to move it. But you can always zoom in and drag it to the right section you want to drag it to. It's an easier way for us to maneuver within the timeline with the playback head. Now next to that we have here, this is our tempo. So you want to hide the tempo right there. I double click it, I put my tempo in, and I press enter, right? And I can press play. Now I can go back to the top. I'm still going to go back to here, right here. Now these are audio files. So if I, let's say, increase the tempo, my audio files are not going to increase with the tempo speed right here, currently. They're not going to do that. So be aware of that. So when I do increase the tempo, what will increase are the MIDI files and the MIDI data, which means my keyboard right here will increase, since you can see that's MIDI information. So if I play it from here, let's say we go to right here, and then I increase my tempo. Now it sounds weird here because the audio files are still playing at the old tempo, but the MIDI files are playing at the new tempo of 152. Now I want to show you more about our display mode. So display mode here, we have the musical sign for a note value, and we have our metronome. So it gives us our BPM. Now I can go to here and go to beats and time. So here we have the beats again, as we had before, but now we have time. And this is in terms of our playback head position. You know, and sometimes you're doing a commercial or something, you need to know exactly where you are. And so this is a time code used by the Society of Motion Pictures and Television Engineers code. And this is used for us to locate certain points in a particular video. Now, it's a different video code alignment in Europe. It was 24, and this is based on 30. 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second. So you'll see here, of course, we can do the same thing. We can go to a specific section, and we can drag and click here. I can drag and click here. Of course, there are bigger increments, as you can see that right there, in terms of minutes, seconds, frames, and subframes, okay? And of course, these frames here, this frame rate, as you see, you can drag up into your frame rate here, and this one is set to 24. As you can see, I need 24 frames here in this positioning here of this code right here. Now I can also go back here to display mode. I can just see beats if I want to. If I don't want to see anything else, I see beats. You see we have that musical note sign is right there. Or we can just see it in terms of time. So if I bring my inspector back in here and I pull a movie up, as we have it right here, I can say, well, I want to be in this section of the movie, or this right there in that section of the video, I want to put a clap. As those hands come together, I put my clap sample right there, I'm in sync. So it's a great way for us to get the exact position we may want to place a sound or start some music. Now also, I have here, this is custom. And as you can see here, it's a lot more than what we had before. So here you can see we've got the head position again, and this top number here is in terms of SEMTI time code. And then here we have our beats and bars division right there. And here, as you can see here, as it's sort of grayed out somewhat, we have our left and our right locator. Now this is cool when we're going to loop something. I want to get a specific section and I want to play it over and over and over. Now, I do this a lot when I want to go over a chorus. I want to make sure that chorus is perfect, or a hook, or a small section where a break comes in. I want to make sure the parts happen perfectly so they come in on time or out, particularly in club music. It's really important for me. So, as you can see right here, this is 27, and right here, this is 20, right? So I'm going to scroll back a little bit here, and then if I go here to cycle mode, right there, you'll see it. Now, having this cycle mode is really cool, but you can do anything with it. It's really great. I can go to here. See the hand comes up? I can move it anywhere I want to move it to. Say I want to move it back to the top. I want to move it to right here where it's on 1. Let's say I want to shorten it. So I go here. You see my cursor turns to a trimmer tool on the right-hand side. Now I just drag it in a little bit, or I'm dragging it right to 5 right there. I'm on it. And see, it even gives me my length. It's great. And now, if I want to loop it, I can just press play, and my bar goes right there. And I'm playing it back again. And it's playing it over and over, right back to the same part each time. Now, I can also grab this and extend this out here to here, let's say, and I may want to grab the front of it now and get it right here to create more value, get a little bit right here. I'm going up and higher in the song right here, higher up here, right there, perfect. Now, wow, totally out of sync a little bit. So here, I can go back to my tempo. That's the beauty of having it. We have this customized tempo grid here, and I can drag it to here also as well. And I can do the same thing here from the LCD display. I can go to here, for example, create less value right here. So it's going to be, let's say, start from bar 5, and then go to greater values up here at the end of the loop, and I can go to bar 35. And those are 30 measures right here. I can play back and forth. And I can also drag this anywhere within the timeline as well. It makes it much easier. Now, another thing you can do also, you can customize this view. I just got this view here, but I can click right here in the display, and right next to the little wheel there for the icon for the customized view, and you'll see, I guess, a little sign that says Customize Control Bar and Display. I can click right on it once it's highlighted, and here we can do everything. We can control the view. We can change the transport, the LCD display, and we can also go from modes and functions. Like, for example, here's my pause button, right? So I can have or not have it. I can go here and go play from right locator, right? So I can play from the right locator. I can also play from the left locator. So here's my pause button. I can take it out. Let's say it's in, I can take it. Let's go back to press OK. And then we're going to go back here because there's too much to see right now. We're going to go back to beats and custom view here for beats and project. And we don't see that. So we're going to go to here again. We're going to customize the display. We go put the pause button in, say yes, press OK. And now we see our pause button. Now, as you've probably noticed as I've been working here, my tool changes. For example, when I was here and I was in cycle mode, the tool turned to a trimmer. If I went to the end, if I was in the middle, it was a hand, right? I can move this anywhere else in the system, right here, up here in the view, and we can see where it's at. So let's turn to cycle now. I can do the same thing here. So I can go back here, change my tool to a pointer. See that? This is my tool drop-down menu. I make it a pointer again, and now it's a pointer. So I can move it as a pointer. I can go to here to the bottom of the right, and now it's a trimmer tool. I can trim this file up to here, right? I can trim that file down. I can go to the left and do the same thing. But notice I'm at the bottom of the file. Now, if I get here on the top of the file, I can loop it. So let's say I want to go trim. I like this sound. Go to here. I say I like that part there, right? I solo it. I want to come here. Right there in the timeline, I want to play. I press play. And I stop it. Okay? So I like that. So I go to here, I'll say, what? I want to like loop it. So I'm looping it here. I'm going like 4 times to loop this thing, and look at that. It's looped. It's totally looped. That's my looper tool. And I can just press play. And it's looping this one weird sound I got here for the guitar. Over and over and over. It's a cool way to loop something in a session. But the purpose of this lesson really is to show you that that one tool went from being a trimmer for left and right, and it went to being a loop tool. And also, let's undo this. and back to normal, I can always take the cursor, put it here, and drag this anywhere I want in the timeline. Using your tools is really important. I'm going to get a little more in depth now. So that's the tool window, it rolls down. We also have an alternate tool, and that's this tool right here. I click there, the same menu, pretty much, right? So to get to this tool, once my cursor's in here, I have my main tool. I just hold down the command button, and now it turns to my alternate tool. I can use this tool to drag right here and click and drag this one section right here and hit the space bar. And it stops. And that's my marquee tool. So I've got these tools, but going back to the top each time is not the thing to do. So you can go right here, I can click anywhere here in this grid, and I can hit my T button. And once I do, we see a list of our tools, but also there's a number or a letter corresponding to that tool to the immediate right-hand side. So right here, you'll see it. And of course here, automation, we have 0, automation curve tool, we have W, marquee tool is E, and our flex tool is R. And our pointer tool is T. So if I'm right here and I click and I do a right for the T, I press T, and let's say I do T2, I get this pencil tool. I do T and hit 3, I get an eraser tool. So you just have to go here, hit the T button, and you're in. And you can always change your marquee tool to whatever you want to use this secondary tool also as well. I can go to here and I can select glue tool, and then I just press the command button and I have a glue tool. It makes it easier. Now these tools change according to the window you're in. Now obviously right now we're in our main window, but let's say for example I pull up a different window. I want to pull up my audio window. And here, once I get an audio window, let's select the file first and we'll get the audio window going on here, which is 6. You'll notice that I've got this file here. I'm in the audio section, and there's a different view here for tools. I go to tools right here, and I have a shorter list. I've got the pointer, the eraser, got my hand tool, zoom, my solo, my pencil tool, but other tools are missing because they're not required for editing any audio files within this window. But let's say I select, let's close this window, press Command W, and I want to select this window right here, right? So I'm going to press my Option button and I'm going to double click. This window opens up here and we have our piano roll window. I'm scrolling up here to the data here for these MIDI files. And then I can go right here and I'm looking at tools and I have a list, a full list of tools again, right? And then next to it, I have the alternate list also. And I can go to here also and I'll select T and that list comes up here as well. So depending on the window you have open, you can select a certain tool for that specific window. But it's important for you to know how to get around these tools. The reason why there are so many windows and there are so many ways to do certain editing functions within Logic that you want to move really fast so that you can think of it and do it. And knowing your tools will help you a lot. As you can see, there are a lot of keyboard commands in Logic. And sometimes, once you get really used to using the system, you may want to input your own keyboard commands. I know I've done that already. So here we go to Logic, and we can scroll down to where it says Key Commands, and go to Edit. Once we get here, we can see everything. We have our global key commands, global control surface keyboard commands, various windows, windows showing audio files, just everything's right here for you. And to the right of it, we can see the modifiers, whether it's Shift, Control, Option, or Command. So for example, I'm going to go into Global, and we're going to scroll into Global, and we can see all the possible keyboard commands. And this is a show all. I can see everything. It's showing me all these global commands here, the ones that are used and not used. And you can see the options available, right? So here I am, and I am in the global commands. I can go to here, and I want to see what's used. And I can see these commands. Now, a lot of times, there are these Mac keyboard commands that have already been set up within the system, and you're aware of that. I've done a lot of them already throughout this lesson program. And what I want to do, though, sometimes is get the ones that aren't used. So I'll look for ones that I want to use. I'll go to here and say unused. And now I see these unused keyboard commands. Like, for example, shuttle forward, scrub forward keyboard command. I may want to just do that where I can just put the cursor there and then just use a keyboard command to scrub forward on an audio file. And I can set up my own keyboard command for that. There are so many keyboard commands, you never know what's going to work. And what they've installed in Logic is a way for us to learn to see if a key position works. So I can go here and we have a learn by key label. We have a learn by key position. So for example, I can assign a key that I can say, I want to assign, is C working? I'm going to learn by key position. I'll click there. And then I want to say, I'm going to select the key. I'm going to select C. And as I do, key or key combination already in use. Key or key combination C is already assigned to a command, cycle mode. You can replace the existing key command or retain it by clicking cancel. See? So there's a stopgap measure inside the system to stop us from changing something without okaying it first. This way you know, I want to change the cycle to be something else. And it's important because when you do start putting your own keyboard commands in, you want to make sure you keep some of the ones you already know, because if you pull your session out and go to another studio, you might get confused or the engineer may get confused. So be aware of that. There are a lot of ways to get around in Logic and a lot of keyboard commands. And you should get familiar with them first before you start creating your own keyboard commands. Like, for example, I'm going to go over a few of them. Here, for example, if I grab this track here and I select on that, wow, it opens up, zooms up, right? And I can click on it again, it zooms up also. But there's an easy way to get around also. So I can go to here, and I want to sort of squash that track up. Let's say I click on this one track here. I can press the Z key, and I'm zooming into that one track already. I just zoomed in. I'll click it again, and now, after hitting Z again, I've zoomed back out, so I can zoom in. I can also, let's say, select 1, 2, 3 tracks here. I'll hit the zoom key, and I've zoomed in on all 3 tracks. And the cool thing is that it sets it up for that window to get all 3 in there. I can hit the Z key again, I've unzoomed. I can add more tracks, let's say, to this overall view I want to get, press Z in again, and the window fits to configure to fit all the selected tracks I want to zoom into. It's really great to work with. I can go to X, and I'll bring up my mixer editor from the bottom. I'll select X again, that won't be there. I'll select F for folder, and I get my hard drive folder. I can see the files, the media, and the project. I'll hit F again. Great way to get around is to zoom in within your session, and actually also to use your keyboard commands to figure out what's the best way to work within Logic. You'll move much, much faster. I can also do that with loops. I'll select O, and now the loops come up. I can look at loops here and use them, pick a loop out, go for it. Press O, I can close my loops up. I can also mute a track. So here I have the guitar delay selected, right? I can select M. You'll notice here now the mute button is selected here. It's down, and the entire track is muted. Let's squash this down a little bit. And let's bring it closer in. You'll see all the files in that one track have been muted. I'll press M again, and we're not muted anymore. I can go to here and select this region right here, right? I'll press Control M, and now that region is muted. So I can mute selected regions by just pressing Control M. I can go to Control M again, and it's not selected. I can do Option M. And then you'll notice again that same selected region, these tracks are out. But they're not muted. What's going on here is this track has been turned off. The on-off button is off here. See that? I can go to Option M again, and now that track is turned on. It's good to know the keyboard commands. You'll move much faster. While working inside of Logic, it is important for you to name everything. Name your regions, name your tracks, because you never know. You can go to a recording session, a label could pay for it, and you pull the engineer in, it's going to take up more studio time. And you want to make sure that session goes smooth so everybody feels happy in the session. And so this is all about that. So here, for example, I've got this session going on. And here we have this synth fuzz, right? And these other regions are all MIDI regions, and they're all named synth fuzz. But I don't know what synth fuzz that is. And this is a soft instrument from inside of the Logic software. And if you want to find it again, it's going to be hard. So normally I would go back in, I'd click here, and I would rename it. Let's say it was called 2RET, right? And I name that, and I stop, and I name it, it's named that. But also, you'll notice that these regions don't have the same name. This is pretty simple. I go to Functions. My second option down says Name Regions by Track Name. I click there, and you'll notice now the regions have that name. Now I'll extend it out so you can see it better. There you go. And you see the name much better now, right? After extending it out a little bit more in the file view, session view, here you can see it. And that's so important to have that. Let me undo this. Now, sometimes you may have several regions in a session like we have right here. And you want to name them different. So let's say, for example, we're going to here, I may have different parts here. So it's going to be R2, right? So the way I can do this is using my text tool. It's pretty simple. I go to here, my tool window, and pull it down, drop down window here, and I get to my text tool, right? Or I can just click in here, go to T, and say I want to go to 4. And I got my text tool. I come in here, I can call it 2RET, and then that file is named. But suppose I want to name them all that without having to use the tool header, the header for the channel. Let's undo this. I'll go back to here, and we'll see all these regions are selected, right? And let me make it a little smaller. I'm going to take a better view here. I want to make it. So there we go. We got all of them right here, right? So I can go into here, let's say, and I want to make them all pretty much the same. So I'm going to make sure I go across here. They're all selected. I get my tool here, and I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4. So go to here, space. I want to say 1, and that way I can label them. And now, as I drag it back out, we'll see that they've been labeled. See, that's 1, 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, and there's 7. So it went in and said, okay, I know you got 7 regions in here. And so I see all 7 of them, and I'm going to name them one after the other. You can see that, of course, if you go here to your inspector icon there, click on that, you'll see the regions that are in that channel. And they're all right there. So we know that all 7 of them have been labeled. Now, another thing we can do here, let's undo that. And we're going to scroll down here to something else here. I want to look at something else here. We're going to go here to kick drum. We have kick drum here, right? Kick, 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 right? So what I want to do here, let's say, is I may have 2 different kicks going on. So I can go to here, so I select them here. And this may be 3 or 4 or 5 different kick drums. So I can go to here, and I'll put in kick 1. And I could say, well, look, I just want to have it just all be kick 1. So I'm going to add kick 2 later on. I'm going to do a space right there. After the 1, enter, and they're all labeled kick 1. Now, before I did that, I had the name that was there. I put in 2. I didn't add a space, and then it named every subsequent one to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is pretty cool. So this is a great way I can just name them numerically in this name. They're all kick 1. Now, when I go back in, I got a new kick drum I can put in. I can put that one maybe on the same track in case it's going to be the same EQ set up for it right there on the track. So it's important to name the regions and to know these functions, how to name every region and name all your tracks. Well, besides just naming a region or naming a track header, I like to also do visual as well. So there are 2 ways to actually not name but color, but make this visual presence that I can either read or see. So, for example, here I have a string part here, and it's green, right? Then I have these string parts that come in here, and I'm sort of like getting my window so I can see everything. Okay, there from the horizontal view right there. And I may want to change the color of a couple string parts, right? So I'm going to go back here to view, and I'm going to select show colors. And here I can see the colors. So I can select here, I know that color, but I want this to maybe be blue. And it is blue. And this one here to be blue as well. This is blue too. Yeah, I got a better way. I can just undo that, undo that. I can click here on that one. Then I'm going to press shift and click on this one. And I've got two of them selected. And now I made them both blue. That way I can see, well, this blue one's the way that one feels. And the green ones feel green, so they're green right there. And I can change the color of those regions. I can also go back in and select several regions. I go to here and I say, well, this region here, and then this one here, of course. I'm holding down shift. And then I want to select all these regions here, like that, and make them purple if I want to, or undo that. I can, of course, just drag across them like that, like I would with a marquee tool, and do the same thing, where I get to change the color of the regions. Now, besides just changing the color of a region or several regions, I might want to change the color of a track. So I'm going to go here to View, and I can pull up my mixer window. I got it right here, and here's my mixer window. And what I want to probably do is change the color of some items. Like, for example, here, I've got a master fader here, and we can see that it's purple, right? It's my master fader. And I'm going to go back up here to View and select Show Colors again. And I might want to change that color to something different. I'm just going to test some colors I like here. Maybe this one might work better. And see, I can change the color of that. That's really cool. I like to do that. I may want to go to here. I've got this Reverb 1 here, and I got this one here too. I may want to change the color of that. So I may want this one a little lighter than that one. And then this one here a little bit lighter than that one. And I get a chance to have these different colors for different parts of my mix. I know, okay, this is the vocal reverb, this is the verb chorus verb, this is the synth verb. I know what these auxiliaries are, and you can change the color of them totally. Now I can close this window out, and I go back here, and we don't actually see that right happening. We do see that we have some of these regions have already been named, or I don't have the colors there. So I can go right back here. I can go to Assign Track Color. And once I do, we'll see it right here. And of course, our color menu comes right up here, the palette. And we can look and see, and maybe change colors if we want to. And we can make them all work evenly. This, for example, here's a kick drum. I have a kick drum here, and I've got a different color here for the kick drums. I may want it all to be the same. So I can go back in here, and I want to make track color by region. I want to make region color by tracks. I do that, and now all the regions that belong to this track are all the same color. It's kind of cool. Another great way to sort of not name or color, but to sort of see also is to change some of these icons you have for your channel header. You can see right, it says kick drum, so it's a big drum right there, right? And these are easy to change. You can go right here to the inspector. I'm going to turn this triangle up here, and then turn this group triangle up here. And I'm going to look at this track triangle, and we see this icon here, right? And I just click right there, and I can pick if I think something else sounds better. That's actually a drum machine kick drum. That's not really this acoustic one, so I can go right here, and I put that in. I got a drum machine icon. I like that better than the other one. It appears here, and then I can change the look of that track to know, okay, that's the drum machine, that's that MPC 60 I'm using right there, right? It makes it much easier. Close my icon back, the little inspector eye out, and I'm back to where I was at before. I can also, of course, to adjust my tracks and for view, is you saw earlier, I can go to here, I can go down and click like that. I can click real quickly. I can also just go to here. Let's get this one back to the same level as that before. I can just drag. I'm going to drag this here, and I put the snare before that. Drag it here, snare like that. I can put the hi-hats like that. So you can change the order in which you want to see any track by just dragging and moving it there. Everyone slides on top of it, and it makes it much easier for you to view. And it gives you a better way to organize the structure of your session. It's important because when I'm in a mixing studio and I'm going to use an analog board, I'll do the same thing. I'll start marking on certain tracks as being vocal, put down B, D, or C, or whatever. But here in the software, it's so cool. You can see it through color, you can name it, and you can change the icons. Save, save, and save. It might be good. Save it. You might want to bring it back later. Save it. We're going to talk about saving right now, and this is an important lesson. So look, we've got a track here. I'm going to go here to my file and select save. I want to save it. And as it does, it saved it already right there to my desktop, right? Because it already knows to save it. And it saved it here as one package. You can see it right there. Right? That's it. It's got the fear.logic X at the end. So we know that that extension is for Logic Pro X. Now, I'm going to go here to Save As. So Save As gives me some more options. And this is new in Logic 10. So I have the package. I can save it as a package. And what a package is, it's got everything inside of it. It's got all the parameters, all the folders are inside one thing. And I'll press cancel here. I'm going to select this. And then see, show package contents. Look, we got alternative, autosave, contents, media, resources. It's all right there in that one file. Let's go back to here. Let's go back to Save As. Now here in Save As, I can also save folder. So I can take all these different versions. Like for example, I may be using all the elements already in Logic. I could be using the soft synth, the drum machine, the ultra beats and its samples, and the movie that might come with it. Or I can have my own movie. I got my own video in there. I brought my own samples in, some claps, some garbage shark sounds, some sirens going by from left to right, right to left, just a whole bunch of stuff going on. I've got all my other stuff, but I want to save it as one big project. So to do that, you want to go back here and you want to say, great, I've got copy the following files into your project. See? That's what it says right there. So I want to copy the audio files, the EXS instruments and samples. I may have extra beats I put in Ultra Beat. I want to save that too. The video will be saved in its separate own folder. So this is the folders here, right? It says Fear there. I'm going to the desktop. I want to save as a folder. I press save. And do I want to replace what's already on the existing desktop? Do I want to replace this? That's different, right? So be aware of that. So I might want to just change the name here. I'm going to go back in here and change this name and call this 1. Go to here. Then I'm back here with my Save As. I'm going to press here to save. It saves it as a folder. Look at that, as a folder. Look at that there. As a folder. And I've got this here also as well, the icon. So be aware of that. That way the folder is saved. And then what this icon here does, let's go back and get info here, right here. It's different. See? As you can see here, this is just the icon that opens up whatever in the folder. While this one here, let's go back to here, let's get info. This one here, as you can see, is 3.5 megabytes. This is 0 kilobytes. So this is way smaller than the other one is. And this is designed to open up the other. So this opens up and gets all its files from the folder. So be aware of that. Know where these files are at and know where your folders are at. I'm going to put them on the desktop for now to give you an example to understand how it works. So what you normally want to do when you bring in other samples into the session and they're not part of the session you already have, or they're not part of samples within Logic already, is you want to make sure they're consolidated. Now the reason why that is, when we go to File here and you've got this file save, we're going to save as, and I'm going to save it, we want to save it in a folder and make sure it's part of the session. So until you've saved it and it's in that session or consolidated, it's still going to be outside the session. So for example, I'm going to go here and look at our project with a hard drive. We've got a bunch of sounds here. And I'm going to go to this one sound, this vocal. And you notice here, it shows you the directory it's from. We're going further down. Now it's in Logic Studio demo songs. Next, you'll see it as audio. And then here it is right here in the audio files. So this is all part of the Logic session. But I have another file here, which is right here. It's guitar, and it's different. It goes from the Skings to the desktop. Here's Fear, and then we got audio files here, and here it is right here, right? So it's not part of the path that you see here for this one. So it must be consolidated. So let's close this up here. This way it'll always be in the session. You normally go back here to File, And we want to go to project management. And we're going to use consolidate. We want to copy audio files, copy EXS instruments and samples, but no. I just want to make sure the audio files are copied for the session. So I want to consolidate in the project. I'll select OK. I'll do that. And then, wow, that was fast. Logic Pro X consolidate project successfully completed. It's pretty cool. It tells you already what's going on. I'll go back to here, and I'll look at it now. Path here, path there, and it's been consolidated. Now here I am scrolling through my session, and I might want to make an alternative version, which is what I do sometimes. I guess we all do it. Particularly when you want to give one to a DJ, you may have a 1-minute version for the A&R guy and a record label to hear, give him one little piece, snippet. Or you may have something for a DJ to hear somewhere across the country. You never know. So you want to save alternate takes. So right here, for example, I may just take this out. Let's edit that stuff out of there. Yeah, erase it, why not? And it's gone, right? And so I go ahead to File, and I want to save it as a new alternate take. And okay, this is Lily Fear 1. Let's call this Lily Fear. Let's see. I'll call this 1, 3. And I'll say, okay, that's a new take, right? That's what it's called now. Now, I want to make another version. Let's say I want to maybe throw this out here, right? And take that point out. And get rid of that. Yeah, why not? Get rid of it. It's gone. And I go back here, and I want to save it as a new alternate, right? A new alternate. And it's 13.1.2. And I'll save that. That's kind of cool. And so I have these different alternates, these different takes on the project. So I can go back here to Fear 1, and I want to load it back in. And it's looking for the part, looking for the pieces, where's it at? And they're all here. Let's go back to here, close this out, and get rid of that. And everything will be in here. I can go back to here, get my view straight, and everything's right there as we can see right there, right? And if I like this view, I can always go back here, I can unlock, then relock it up, and my view is the same. See? I can go back into here. We're going to go to alternatives. We're going to look at alternative Fear 13, and it loads it back up. So this is important. You want to have different versions. You can do it. There's no problem with that. You can have different versions of everything going on in your sequence and everything here. You want to make sure you pull it back up, though, that's going to have the same look. You can look at it and say, yeah, well, that's what it's supposed to be there. That's the way it's supposed to be. And you want to make sure you see it that way. It's important to view your tracks the way they're supposed to be. I can go back here. There they are again. That piece is missing. And the reason why we have alternate takes, we can have different versions. We can experiment around. But this is really cool because that way you can pull it in, you can bring it back up, and you can figure out what works and what doesn't. It's another way to save, but we're just saving alternate takes. I've just started a new project. So I've opened an empty template, and I'm going to load in here a brand new track. It's going to be an audio track. I'm going to go here into Apple Loops. I'm going to go to Drums. And I'm going to look for a drum loop to use or something here. I'm going to find something here to look for. And you can go right in here and test a few things. Click it one time, run back, look for something else. Here's a beat box. Now, while scrolling through beats, I can just click right here where the little icon is for the waveform and scroll through beats by just hitting my down button. Like that. Clicked on it again, it stops. Now I want to take it and drag it into my timeline. But first, I want to make sure I can see it. So I'm going to pull back on my inspector there a little bit. And so I can sort of adjust the length here, my track window there. I'm going to take it and grab it, and we're going to drag it right here to the track. As I do, I get this box here. Add the audio file contents tempo information. So these audio files have tempo. So I want to keep the tempo. I can always change it, so I'll keep it. I'll go to Import, and now I've got this right here on this track. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and play it back. I'll press the space bar. Whoa. So look what happened. It took it down a whole lot there, right? As you saw that. So when I played it here, That wasn't the tempo, right? So I go to here again. And you see that was a tempo there, actually. So I went from here. And it's playing a different tempo, right? Now notice one thing here. Now let's undo that and undo this. You see what happened here? This is 120. So what happened here, let's stop this. When I dragged it in, it pulled in its own tempo from over here. See that? And my original tempo that I had for my brand new empty project was 120. So let's do this again. I'll take this now. I like it like that speed. I'm going to take it and drag it here into here again. And it's going to ask me again. Do I want to import the tempo? So look here, the tempo, it's 79. My tempo is 120. I don't want to do that. I want to keep this 120. I like that one. Don't import the tempo. Okay, now I go back to the top. And make sure the top here. I'm at 1 and play it back. Remember that. Okay, so I've got my beat that I like, and it's here on the track, and it's looped up. We can tell it's looped. We got the two circles here just looped up there. It's our looped symbol. Now, I want to close up the beat. Loop beats there. That's closed up. And I realize I only have like 4 bars, right? So 4 bars here. So if you want to figure how long it's going to be, I can go right here to time. And I say, okay, that's 4 bars. I go to the end of here, and I say, wow, that's 4 bars. Turn the cycle off there. And I may want to go longer. So I'll go here. And as you remember before, we can loop anything. So I move my cursor here, got my loop going on, and I go out there's 8, right? I can keep looping them. I can loop them over and over as long as I want. Let's undo that. So I think what I want to do, though, probably, is sort of get a better view. I want to make it like really long enough so I can see everything. So here, there you go. And now I want to loop it out. I may want to go to like 65. It's good enough here, right? And you can see right there, as I hold the cursor there, it shows me my loop point and all the information that goes with it. I can go back here to the top again, and we'll press the return key. Go back to the top. Now, if it's too loud, I can go back to my inspector, right? And I got my track right here, as you can see, right? It's our track, and we can see the level. Too loud. And I press my space bar to stop it. So I've got a loop going on. So I want to add another track. Now next I want to add a new track here. So I've got a plus sign here. See that? And there I put my cursor there. We get our little help button there. It tells us that's a new track. Let's go to here again and we'll hit it again. And new tracks, right? I can go hit a track. I can select new tracks as well. Like the box comes up here, I can select more than one, all right? I just want one track, so I want a soft instrument, all right? So let's cancel this out. I'm going to go right here so you can see me do it from right here. And you know we have confidence in that. I'll go right here. I want one new track. I want to have an output, 1 and 2, that goes to my stereo output. And we're going to go create. And I have a brand new track. Now, once I make this brand new track, and it is a soft synth thing we're going on right here with, you can see it loads a classic electric piano, which is kind of the preset install. So here I may want to maneuver to some other sound, right? So I can my back button here and go back further and further, right? And figure out what I'm going to do, or it says vintage keys, right? So I hit that vintage keys, and now I'm in something else here, right? You can see this here, a different category. I have synths here. I select synths, and I got synth leads. I'm going to go to synth leads. Oh, let's go backwards one. Let's go back one. I want to go to synth leads, not pads. And that's how you maneuver around. See that? So now I'm in synth leads, right? And I can look for my leads here I like or don't like. And I might pick this analog sound. Yeah, I want to go with this analog 70s sound. It's like this old lead sound, right? Now to hear it back, I could have my MIDI keyboard out. But for those of you who don't even have a MIDI keyboard and you're just working on your laptop, you know, you're sitting around doing stuff, it's pretty simple. You can go right here to Window, and we're going to look at, as we saw before, we want to use the Show Musical Typing right here. And here I can do it. There you go. I got some sounds there, right? It's pretty cool. And I can change the octave of the sounds too. I got A, S, D, F, G. So up an octave. So we can change the octaves pretty good. I'll put this down here out the way a little bit because I want to show you more about this one sound. Now here we have region, and that's the chip shot beat right there, right? This one right here. And so here I've got track for my analog lead, right? So here, as we can see, we've got some elements here. We've got our synth section. This is for the synth itself. And right here, we've got some effects. These are plug-in effects. And right here, some buses where some outputs are sent out. Now I'm going to close off the library a little bit. You'll see it a little better right here. And so I have my sound here. I can always click here too again, and we can see more information. I can go to next channel stripping, previous channel strip settings. So we can change our settings. And we can reset our channel strip too as well. So this is our channel strip. Get that idea in your mind, a channel strip. We got a fader here. We've got our panning here. We got our read and don't read as automation. We have stereo output. I can go to here and I can select my stereo output. Stereo output means we're going to feed this thing right here, which is our output. See, that's our output. Stereo out, this is the output here. This is the 1 and the 2. So I've got this retro synth going on, and I can play it. Now right here, to the left, I've got this on and off button. So I'm playing the keys now, what's happening? On and off button here, right? And then here, inside of it right here, I click that, and what comes up is this nice box here for my factory default for the 70s analog lead. As you can see here, I can shape my sound, right? So we have 2 shaping knobs. We've got a mixer where I can mix the difference between one oscillator to the next oscillator. And the oscillator oscillates back and forth. And then we have this, this is a shape module right here. We got vibrato here. So you can sort of mess with the sound a little bit, sort of tweak it out, find out what you think is going to work best for your sound. And I can play the sounds. I can adjust the mix also, whether this chorus is going to be thick or not. Put the chorus back. Hold the sound down. Apply effects. Mix between one and the other oscillator. It's kind of cool. So last part I want to show you here, my retro synth setting here we have. I can click right here and I get my shaper somewhat. It says retro synth, right? That's stereo. And you'll see this list of different designer outputs I could use right here. I've got a sculpture here for modeling synth. I've got one here for a vintage B3 organ. So I can go to here and make it mono or stereo. So before it's stereo, I can go right here and it pulls up, and now we've got this nice B3 organ sound. This is kind of cool, actually. I like that. If I want to go back to where I was at before, I'll click right here, back to my model, and I'll go right back to where I was at before. I'll go right here to retro synth. I'll select stereo, and I'm back to it. Really cool. Now, below that, we have our plugins, and they can be mounted right here. So here I have an EQ. I can turn it on or off from here. As you can see, once it's off, it's sort of grayed out that whole plugin section. Here I can look at the plugin, and here we can see that plugin. I want you to notice one thing too as well. Right here where it says MIDI effect. Right here, this is the model window. This is our thumbnail of the EQ that you see. Now to show you how I can affect it, I can go right here and watch. When I pull this down, it'll affect that thumbnail right there in the track. So I'm pulling it down and see how it affected it. So this gives us a small representation of what's going on in my EQ. I can pull it right back up too as well. Let's close the EQ out. Next, I have a tape delay. And this is kind of cool too. So I play this sound. We hear a delay, right? There's a delay. And I can go to here, turn it off. No delay. So it goes to the EQ first. Once the sound is EQ'd, then it goes to delay. So these plugins happen in order. Now next, I can click right here and I get my delay window. And I can see my delay settings right here as well. I can go here to the right of it and I can pick other different plugins I may want to put in there. And it says, no, I can put no plugin in. As you can see there, I have a delay and I have a choice of different delays. The current delay is a tape delay. Above that, we have stereo delay, a sample delay, echo, and a delay designer. It's kind of cool. I can design my delay like from a stereo delay and sort of make it 4-tap delay where it taps 4 times, and I can have it tap 4 times at different tempos. So I can design my delay. It's really cool. Now below that, we have a bus. Now this is like we're sending something out in a bus. See, okay, here we go. We got a bus, and we're in this city, right? And then we got an audio tied to that bus, and it's going here, going there, and I got 2 bus outs. I'll show you that right now. Now these buses are sending outputs to a different space. Now I already know by listening back, there's more than just this tape delay going on with this. Now to see more, once you actually bring in this sound, we're going to see more. We're going to press Command 2 and bring up our mixing board, and you'll see it right here. Here it is. This is our mixing board, right? And we can see it now. Let's sort of expand it out. Let's get a better view. And now we can see what's going on. Let me get expanding it a little bit more. There we go. We can see now we have our instrument. It's right there. We've got our first sound, which is this loop I've got right here. I already loaded the sound of that, right? And here's our instrument. What comes with it also is this small room verb. See that? Small room. And it's about a 1-second villa bathroom. That's cool. The other one here is a large plate. And it's a 4.4 second plate. The distance from, I guess, from the space that I would hit the sound to where it bounces off that wall. Then here's the output for that. Now you can tell these are auxiliary tracks because you see this little yellow button right here? That represents an auxiliary track. This uses buses to send signals in and out and around. So here, for example, you see I have this sound here going out, and this sound is going into bus 1. This is bus 1. So this is my original synth sound, right? And I have it right there, and I can turn this off, right? And turn this off, and I'll play it again. And we hear the tape delay. We don't hear more of that spacious sound we had before. Now I'll go back here, turn it on. And you can almost hear the delay in that sound, all right? Now also there's an EQ right below that. An EQ below this one too as well. So I'll go to here again and play it. And it sounds full. And you can see as I play the sounds, it's going right in this large plate right there. Now I want you to notice something else also as well. You'll notice here these 2 circles indicating that there are stereo buses right there, right? 1 and 2 are stereo. And here I have a little knob here, so I can sort of drag on this knob and create more of a send. So this is a bus. We're sending it out, but we can also control how much audio of the original audio am I sending to the auxiliary track. So we're sending the sound from here into there. See that going up, and you see it sort of fill up here a little bit? And I'll hit the sound, and you hear more of a spacious sound now. Even more so. And I'll pull this back somewhat here and adjust it. And we can adjust our sound level, not just the settings for this retro synth, like changing the oscillation or changing the chorus or the attack, decay, sustain, release of that sound. We can also change the delay, the EQ, but also how much by adding some effects like this small room and also the large plate. Now once I hit the sound here, and you notice that sound, it's all going here to this output right here. See this? And this is my bus output right here. And all this happens at once. So it's important for you to understand right now that when you do load a sound up, some sounds will have some settings already, and it may also have some sort of little mixer functions going on, where there's a bus assignment going into a reverb. You could have 1, 2, or 3, or 4 of them. So let me close this window up. Let's go to here and close window. And so this one sound you see, it's not just that going on. So let me go back here to the chip shot beat, you'll notice here I have this beat going on, right? And when I play the beat, it's going to this overall output right there, right? And when I go back here to instrument, it's going over output 2 as well. I'm going to go back in here to window, and I'm going to pull up my musical keyboard again. So I can play along with it right there, little keyboard, but you get the idea. Our outputs are going right here. I'll play this again. Let's go into that mixer out, and I'll go back here, and we see it's going. And I play the beat again, press the spacebar. So you can see our outputs are going to this output right here. And that's our summation amp, this output. So I've got some sounds going on here, which is not bad. I like this sound. I want to do something else, though. I want to pull back in the musical keyboard and make sure it's here. I'll probably put it here at the bottom so I know where it's at. And I want to be able to hit these sounds. I've got that one sound. You notice once I started tweaking, though, the sound sort of changed here, right? So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm not going to label it. I might not even use it. What I want to do next is pull another sound in and make a new track. So I want to get a bass going on. So I go here, select new track, and I've got a software synth, but I don't want to use a library. Now, before I had the library, I was able to look through everything they had in the library. I want to make my own sound. So no library. We're going to go to create a track. And now once we do, you'll notice here that the window populates with nothing. Nothing's in there, right? It's just empty. So you get to see a better definition of what little sounds, little marks were for, and little buttons and little areas. So here we see the settings. Here we see the EQ. We see the MIDI effects. We see the instrument, right, which is right there. And audio effects and everything else. So I can go to your instrument, let's say, and I want to look for an instrument to put in here, right? So I want to go to this ESM monophonic synth. So I'm going to select this right here, right? And so I get this synth here. I like this, not too bad. So this is bass sound. That's a nice bass sound, not too bad. I want to probably sort of play with a little bit, get some sound out of it. I may want to bring this down a little bit too, bring the audio level down somewhat. A little more than that. Change my glide a little bit. Not bad, not bad. A resonance right here a little bit maybe. And I got my mix level, a little bit more of this. I like that, so I can keep that for the setting. So now I'm just building up into this track, sort of getting an idea of what I want to add. So next, I want to probably add a little effect here. So I want to get a delay going on here, and I'm looking for this stereo delay right here. And it's mono. Since we're a mono sound, I want stereo actually, so I'm going to go here with stereo, mono to stereo. And I've got this delay. Let's see this. I like that delay, but it's too much for me. So I want to bring this down here to about maybe 10%. This one as well. Also, that's not too bad there. Let's hear this back. Not too bad. I want to get a little less of the feedback. What's this delay happening? I want to make sure when it does happen, it's sort of just... Yeah, I don't want to have too much. I just want to have a hint of that delay going on. Not bad. That's good. So I'm building this sound up. This is kind of cool, right? So I want to add probably one more thing here. So I'm going to select right here. I'm going to get another setting here. So I'm going to get something else out of here. I want to get a filter. Let's go to filters here. And I want to go to auto filter. And it's stereo. Got an auto filter here. It's pretty cool. So I've got an auto filter here. And I want to look for a patch that comes with it, right? So we have these factory defaults, right? It comes that way and you can use it. But there are also some other patches in here that you can select that'll help out as well. I'm going to use Always Rising filter. Pull this in and play the sound back. Now that's pretty loud. I'm going to pull this down somewhat because it's like sort of really loud. So we get this nice rising sound out of it, right? I may pull the threshold level down a little bit, and if I want, I can adjust some more of the settings, but you get the idea. We're building a sound up. We're building a sound up right here inside the system. I can add an EQ or whatever, but I can leave it the way it is. Now I've got this selected here, right? And I'm making sure I'm not selecting the EQ or the EMS or the ESM or the delay or the auto filter. Not at all. But I want to maybe save this sound, right? So I go to here, I'm going to go to library. Now, I don't like what it says here, library, this is not bad. And I've got this sound set up, and I want to save it. I go right here where it says save, and I could save it. Now, where's it going to save it at? And you'll see here, EMS, right? So I got my EMS right there, and I can save it right there and say, okay, great. I'm going to pull this sound up to EMS. So it says default, but what I'm going to call it, I'm going to call it my bass. And I'll select save. And now I've made my own sound. And that's how we can create our own sounds. Just make sure you open library. You can make your own sound, or you can pull in sounds already in the library in Logic. Now I've got my new sound called my bass. And I can always delete that sound and maybe find something new. Or I have a new session. I want to pull that sound up and I know I liked it before. It's pretty simple. I go right here. I'm going to go add a new track. And this time we're going to click or check Open Library. I'll create, and I have a new track here. So I'm going to go here where it says this piano sound. And I'm going to click here. Hold on a second. I'm going to click right here on the right-hand side. And we're going to scroll down to our ESM sound mono right there, right? I get that sound. I go to factory. I scroll down. There it is right there. My bass, my user sound. I pull it up. I close this out. I want to bring back my window for my musical typing. And here it is. Got it. And that's how we can save a sound and bring it right back.